And you know that there is a kind of rule, I would say, that when you think about your goals, just be clear on two parts, what and how.
Okay.
It should be present there. So when you have your what, how will come. And another interesting thing is when you think about who I want to be, not what I want to get.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
also, it will change your thinking process.
But there's a lot of noise on social media, obviously. And there's going to be someone already doing the things that you want to do, or the ideas that you're like, oh, I should have started that long ago, because now
Yes.
everybody seems to be, doing it. Like, so like, how do you deal with that?
Well, my first advice, unsubscribe.
Okay.
Unsubscribe, don't scroll. And another thing is imposter syndrome. Well, actually, I brought a good news.
Okay.
So usually we think that imposter syndrome is about others overestimating us. Right? Like we think that they overestimate us, like we are so good, and we actually, we are not, like we are frauds. But it's not about that. It's about...
Do you have an idea, but for some reason you don't know how to get started? Maybe you've started in written down so many things, but you can't seem to jumpstart it. But then finally you're like, let me do this. And then you look on social media and then you find somebody else doing something very similar. And then now you're like, ooh, they're better than me. I don't know if I can do this anymore. And you're comparing yourself to them and you're doubting yourself. You're doubting your talents. And for some reason, that's holding you back from actually pursuing your dream. Today, we're going to be talking about limiting beliefs, mindsets, and all of the things that stops us from actually pursuing our dream and building that business and brand that we've always dreamed of. And I have my very, very good friend here, Evgenia, with me. She is the queen of clarity. She is a success mindset coach for women in business. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me today.
Look, I feel like this topic is so important because even though it looks like I have everything put together, I am still struggling with a lot of the things that I mentioned there. You have an idea, but for some reason, you feel like, well, somebody else is doing it, so I can't do it anymore. And, all of that. So I know because we already talked about some of this yesterday and you've given me some tips and things like that. But before we get into that, just tell us a little bit about, yourself and some of the work that you're doing to help women in this area.
Yes, of course. And the good, well, I think it's a good news that we all experience something like you just described, and and you are not alone. So, and I used to be like that. And sometimes I procrastinate too, but I just know how to overcome. I just know what to do. I know how to stop that voice that is criticizing me. And so a few words about myself. I haven't been like that before, right? But I built my confidence. I built my self-acceptance just by learning things about me, just, creating self-awareness. And another thing that helped me a lot, and that's a great tip, by the way, just to step by step go into that unknown space, right? And just experiment with that with no expectations from yourself. This is very important. And my background, well, I would say that I am a corporate veteran. So my career was purely human resources. And I used to work for different huge international corporations. And while I was working in human resources, I was helping people to be better at what they do.
Right.
And I worked with leaders, I worked with teams, and I coached them. And we talk a lot about leadership. And, one day I just realized that I can do more being outside of corporate world. And this is how and when I started my own business,
Right.
helping not just leaders, but women who are, female founders who have their own business or who just think about, this is the day and I want to bring some change into my life. And, another thing that I was about to say is that it's also about leadership. It's about leading your life. It's about confidence. It's about self-awareness and self-acceptance. And it's even more difficult than being a leader because in 90% we are alone. We are solopreneurs, so we are wearing multiple hats and we have tons of responsibility. We have huge variety of decisions that we need to make. Right. So, and this is even harder and sometimes even more complex. So I decided, okay, I will share all the tips that I know about leadership with women. Why not? Especially that I'm certified in Gallup Strengths Finder assessment, and that was designed purely for leaders like decades ago. Then they started to share this assessment with everybody else. And I think that providing that access to that amazing assessment is key for understanding who are you, because it's about your strengths, it's about your talents, and you can use that as a starting point. And I see that, you know, when we women, we utilize that assessments, not just Gallup Strengths Finder, there are some many others, we are progressing faster, right? Because we have some evidence, right? So, and this is the evidence that yes, you are talented, and that you have something to show to this world.
Okay, thank you so much for saying all that. And I think you sell yourself short, because even though you talked about your corporate work, you have helped hundreds of women in business through your speaking, through your coaching, through your social media and all of that. And I'm like, when are you going to get to that point? I guess I should have said that. But I know firsthand that you've also helped me. And today I know this is another opportunity for you to help so many other women. I want to start with that whole, we're talented. Maybe some people don't know that they're talented, or they don't believe that they're talented. But I strongly believe that there's something on the inside of us. But for some reason, we're not able to maybe identify it, or like feel like we can do it. I don't know, can you help me, understand that, like break that down a little bit? Like, what is some of the things that is stopping us from even believing in our own talent?
Well, one thing I would say that this is the trap of comparison. We are comparing ourselves with others. We see some skills, some talents, some traits in others that we think we don't have.
Right.
But actually, sometimes you even have more than other person, right? Another thing is, I think it's also important to understand and remember that we are all different. And that's a beauty, right? So we are all different. We are bringing all our talents. We are creative, right? We are creative in different ways.
Yeah.
For example, well, you are creative with your marketing and I'm not, but I'm creating with my speeches, right? And I can create different things, like I'm a good writer, for example, right? We have so many talents, but also the talent itself can be like structured inside, right? So, and again, creativity is not about being an artist, right? Creativity is about so many different things that are near and dear to your heart.
Right. Wow. Okay. So now that we just need to believe that our talent is different.
First of all, you need to discover that, right?
Okay.
So how to discover? Well, it's about self-awareness. And how to discover? Well, you're collecting some feedback. You can think about and reflect about your past successes, and just and this is about understanding. Okay, so I was successful in the past. What led to that success? What helped me to be successful in that project, with that business, with that product, right? And you will find some little pieces of that. And then when you understand that part, that pieces, you will see how you can intentionally use them today and tomorrow, right? So it's about discovering, then understanding, yes, I have that. Then it comes to believing in that, right? And it's how to explain it to you shortly, like name it, claim it, aim it, right? So this approach will work here. Okay. And for example, I use this exercise with my clients who believe that they're not like talented or they are not good enough. I usually ask them to create a list of at least 50 things others value them. Like they can ask their friends, their family members if they are supporting them, at least 50. And you know what? You will struggle with the first 5, but then you will write like in a flow.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So I feel like that is really important for professionals that are looking to become entrepreneurs because, a lot of people are stuck in, corporate world, or maybe they're not really enjoying it and they're like, oh, I don't know. But like, I feel like you just unlocked something for them to say, you know what? You might not be enjoying what you're doing right now. And if you have that, you want to start a business or do something, do this exercise that you just said and make a list.
Yes, and don't ignore your successes from your corporate life, right? Because we have so many skills that are actually transferable.
Right.
And when you are working in an organization, you learn how to manage projects. You will need that skill, right?
Yes.
Because having a business, it's a kind of a project,
It
right?
is.
And it's a huge one, and you can break it down into smaller ones. Like you are thinking about launching a product, that's a project.
That's right.
Yeah, how to market that, that's a project.
Yes.
So that type of thinking will help you. That will give you some structure, that will give you some framework so that you're not procrastinating, you know your end game. Yes, so don't ignore your corporate world, don't ignore your corporate experiences. Just bring all that you gain into the game.
That's good. I love that. Okay, so let's say we start this, we're like starting out the business, but then you're like, okay, I'm afraid to then maybe launch, because social media can be very intimidating.
Yes.
But even before we get into social media, sometimes we are stuck with how do I go about doing this? I know I struggle a lot with that because I want it to be perfect, quote unquote. I want it to look right. I want it to look a certain way. And so I'm either stuck in the idea phase or in the organizing phase,
Yes, and there's another trap that you may notice. It's kind of a shiny penny.
Okay.
Right, so that you can be distracted by so many ideas that you are getting, right? Because we are all creative,
Right.
and you know that to answer your question, it's all about decision making and how you are formulating your goals. Because when you have an idea, okay, so again, what's your end game? How the result will look like? What the result? So what's the result you desire, right?
Right.
So just imagine that. And you know that there is a kind of rule, I would say, that when you think about your goals, just be clear on two parts, what and how.
Okay.
It should be present there. So when you have your what, how will come.
Oh, okay.
Don't think about how, because when you think about how, you have missed this what part.
Oh, okay.
Does it make sense? Like you are doing things knowing nothing about where you're going.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
what's at the end? What's the destination? What's the result? What's the product? What's the service? What I'm doing?
Right.
What I am doing, right? So when you have your what crystal clear, how will come.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So I'm thinking about me. I'll tell, for example, this podcast. I want it. I'm very techie. Like it needs to look a certain way. It has to come out, all of that. But sometimes I get in the weeds of all the technical aspect of it that I don't do a good job in preparing for the conversation part of it. And then I'm like struggling, like, oh my God, oh my, you know what I mean? So what would you say to that?
That's interesting that you bring this topic because I had the same. Like when I knew that I need to be prepared for my like keynote speaking or to different speaking events, I was so energized. I was so excited about this opportunity. I put some words together. I become so creative. But when it comes to preparation, well, I was just like,
Yeah.
I was pushing myself hard. And, I thought, okay, so what if I say that this is part of my job? No, it didn't motivate me at all.
Right.
So then I just, sit and reflect. I just like I mentioned before, what is my why and what? Right? So, and I just discovered that, okay, so whom I want to be in the future. I like to get opportunities to be a speaker. And I was just like, is it like a target? Is it a goal for me to be a professional speaker? And that idea just, shined. That was so much vivid. I can see myself being on the stage. And I was like, okay, so I need to be prepared in order to be a better speaker.
Right.
And that moved the needle. That was my motivation right away. Like, no procrastination, no scrolling my phone, nothing. Because now I have that goal. I want to be a speaker who is professional, who is talking to the point, who is confident on the stage. And of course, to be a professional speaker, or, well, you have to do your reps. Like, you have to do your repetition every time, every day. You have to be prepared. So just make this tedious part of the work part of your goal.
Oh, okay.
Like, even part of your vision. Okay, so Victoria, who is she in, I don't know, 3 years from now? How big is your audience? How much followers do you have? Is it 1,000, 5,000, a million? And then you will understand, okay, so in order to be that person, I need to do X, Y, Z. And another interesting thing is, when you think about whom I want to be, not what I want to get,
Yeah.
it will change your thinking process, right? Because when you think, okay, so I would like to be best known person in this area of business. For example, I want to be the best marketer with followers, I don't know how much, like 1 million of followers.
Right.
So, and then you can think, okay, so if you know that person, you can just find out what are the skills, what are the attributes of that person. But if you don't know that person, well, you can think, you can just be creative with that part. You can visualize yourself being that person. Okay, to be that professional, I need to be, I don't know, more confident. I need to have, I don't know, a flow of interviewers, right? So I need to come up with topics easily. That means that probably I will need to hire somebody, right? And you will see how you will be flooded with the ideas how to get to that state when you feel yourself that particular person.
Right. I totally agree with what you said. I feel like that when I started my Boss Ladies campaign, I had a clear vision of what I wanted it to look like. And because of that, I had so many opportunities, feel like it opened up for me, a lot of ideas. And I didn't worry too much about the algorithm because I was just focused on the goal, and that was driving me
Yeah.
to.
And I do remember our discussion about your project, I would say, right? And you shared with me that, yes, you clearly saw how the gala should be.
Yes.
Right? And that helped you to create the plan, to attract people who helped you, right? So
Yes.
it's a kind of being in the flow. And you just mentioned opportunities, but, well, frankly speaking, you created that opportunities yourself.
Wow.
Right? Because you were so open, right? You had your vision clear. And when you had your vision clear, you can define your goal. And then you see, okay, so what about this? What about that? You are getting ideas, and you know that all opportunities are coming your way because you are open to accept them.
Wow.
This is it. You're not blocked, right? You were looking for opportunities. You were not creating obstacles. And by the way, there are two types of people. And I just had a conversation about this with my girls. I have three girls. Two of them are almost adults. That's why I can have that type of conversations with them. And I shared with them because one was she was complaining about something I don't remember. And I just mentioned to her, well, do you know that there are two types of people? Those who are looking for opportunities and those who are looking for obstacles and excuses. So, yeah,
That's
that's
good.
another good self-awareness tip, right? So where you belong.
Right. So how do we get over the imposter syndrome of okay, now I'm committed to doing this, but then you turn on social media and everybody, there's a lot of noise on social media, obviously, and there's going to be someone already doing the things that you want to do, or the ideas that you're like, oh, I should have started that long ago, because now
Yes.
everybody seems to be, doing it, like, so like how do you deal with that?
Well, my first advice, unsubscribe.
Okay, unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe, don't scroll, right? So of course you will you should be interested in what your competitors are doing, but again, we are all different, right? We
Right.
have different techniques, we have different background, we have different beliefs and values, right? That's what makes us different,
Right.
And another thing is imposter syndrome. Well, actually, I brought a good news.
Okay.
So usually we think that imposter syndrome is about others overestimating us, right? Like we
okay.
think that they overestimate us, like we are so good, and we
that's so
actually we are not, like we are frauds. But it's not about that. It's about you underestimating you and your abilities.
I've never thought of it that way. That is really good.
So you see how the perspective is changing. So it's about you.
Huh.
You are just underestimating your skills, your abilities, your, I don't know, creativity, all the traits, all the talents that you have. And that means that you have them.
Oh wow. Okay, wait. Let me just repeat that. Let me make sure that's sunk in very well. So the imposter syndrome is not about people overestimating you.
It's not about you thinking that they are overestimating
Overestimating
you. It's
you.
about you thinking, not thinking, but about you and so underestimating yourself, right? But when you have that thinking, when you have that thoughts, that means that you have something in you already
Yeah.
that you just need to work on, like to be stronger at something or to enhance your, say, confidence, right? So that you already established something at some point, at some level, you just need a little bit to work on that.
Okay. I feel like we need to break this down a little bit more. Because I love the way you just said it, and I want to make sure it sinks in. So usually the way of imposter syndrome works is like we're looking at everybody else thinking that we are not as good as them.
Yeah, because we think that they will understand that we are frauds. Like we are not who we are. Like we are not experts. Like we are not good at what we do. Like they will discover something about ourselves, right? So we think that they can think something,
Right.
and that thinking is about like the logical way. If we think that they can think that we are not who we are, that means that they are overestimating us. Like they think highly about us, and we like don't deserve that thinking.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Wow.
So this is what imposter syndrome is about. But actually, we think that this is the imposter syndrome is about, right? But let's change the perspective, right? So it's about us underestimating what we have.
Wow.
And if you think, okay, so I am underestimating my talents and skills, what does it mean? That you already have talents and skills.
So that's not the problem.
That's not a problem because you are evolving, right? You are growing together with your business. You are learning every day. You are doing your repetitions. You are, I don't know, you are like you're going to gym every day. That's exactly what we do with our businesses, right? We are working out every day. We are stretching our muscles. We are building our muscles and we do that for our skills too.
Right. So we also have to think about it like, building a business is not, we're not there to show ourselves as like we have it all together in every area, but it's really about being okay with evolving and growing.
Yes, absolutely. And you know that usually we are laughing with my clients because they even created the word good enoughness. Like, what is this? What's your good enoughness? Where that starting point? Where is that ending point? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Because, well, perfection doesn't exist.
Right.
What
You
is
taught
what
me
is
that.
yeah, what is perfect in this world?
Nothing. So what's the difference between, so we should strive for excellence instead of perfection.
Yes, exactly.
And then
And you define the
that's what I was
excellence,
going to
right? So
say.
you define the excellence together with your clients, for example, together with your customers, together with your audience, because you know what they want, what they're looking for, and how you can serve them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So it's not about comparing ourselves with others. We have to figure out what is good enough for us. What is our level of
Yeah.
expertise?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, excellence. Oh wow, that's a
And that's
good.
why I love the book. What's the name for that? Of that book, The Gap in the Gain, where they teach that you're not comparing yourself where are you now with the future goal, but you're comparing yourself with your starting point.
Okay.
Because when you compare yourself here with the starting point, you see all the achievements.
Results. Yeah.
But when you compare yourself here today with your future self, you can feel the gap and you are frustrated with this gap, right? But when you understand all the achievements, all the accomplishments, you are getting motivation from that because, well, who did it? You did it.
That's so good. And it helps you be confident too. Okay. So wow. Okay.
Because that's another tip, that's another exercise. Well, you can just sit, grab pen and paper, and just write it down. Okay, who I was 5 years ago, and compare yourself 5 years ago with yourself now. The project that you've done at the beginning of when you start your business, right? The skills. Did you have all these things?
No.
No. Did you have all that knowledge? No. Even your networking.
Right. That is so true. Okay. So how do we deal with, let's say that we're finally okay with where we are, we're feeling confident, knowing that it's a journey, it's, not a marathon, it's a journey. But then you're like, maybe you hit a bump in the road and then things go down, and then now I feel like, it's easy to fall into that trap of, oh, wow, I'm a failure. Things are not gonna work. Like, how do I get back up there? People are gonna look at me and think I failed. Like these are real feelings. Like, you're like, oh my goodness, it didn't look right. And then, but then, how do you build that momentum again? How do you build
How
that
to bounce
confidence?
back. How to bounce back. Well, and I would like to share my own experience.
Okay.
Like April was a really hard time for me. I don't know what happened. Like nothing special. Nothing special, but my mood was down, zero motivation. I tried to analyze what's going on, like nothing. Nothing. Something just happened with my thinking. Something just happened with my inspiration. And well, it took me months to think about what's going on and to find out.
Wow.
And I was able to come back, and that was about, again, accomplishments, what you achieved. And again, it was about thinking about, okay, whom I would like to become, like in 5 years. It was about reminding myself about my vision. So who am I? Who are my clients? And what about what I do, whom I serve, right? Because we are all about serving people. We have that inside our heart and soul. And yeah, that helped me a lot. Like I reflect, and that was so easy, like 30 minutes just of conversation, myself with myself, sitting with a wise person talking. And I was really impressed because, I teach my clients how to overcome the things, how to bounce back, how to get your resilience back.
Right.
But I couldn't find that for myself. And then I just, okay, girl.
You gotta figure this out.
Yes, you gotta figure it out because so many people in my family mentioned to me, they noticed that and they mentioned, well, what's going on? Like nothing, really nothing. So that could happen to everybody, and you just need to remember about your vision.
Right.
You need to remember about why you started your business, right? So, and in this case, you just want to make sure that you started your business because of you, not because of others are doing the same, not about not because your family told you to do that things, right?
Right.
You just need to understand that you started your business because you had a calling, or you have a calling. You have something to share with this world, and we all have, by the way.
Yeah.
Right, so that was just about me coming back to me, like my authentic self. Yeah,
That's good.
and that was, again, I was back again, and even my husband, he was like, what did you do to yourself? Like, nothing. Nothing. I just talked
You
to
just talk
myself.
to
I
yourself,
just talked to
right?
myself. That was a kind of self-coaching,
Wow. Yes.
so
Yes.
powerful.
So, okay. I know that there's some people where they're like, okay, I'm doing all the things, I hear you, I'm going to do all this confidence boosting things. I'm going to unsubscribe from the social media, because of the imposter syndrome and all of that. But they're still doing all of this work, putting time into their businesses, but they're not getting clients. And obviously, part of the reasons why we build our business is so that we can serve people, but also make money so we can live the life that we want to. But not getting clients, or not getting clients as often as you want, can also deep into your,
Of course.
your confidence, or like make you doubt yourself, whether you're supposed to be doing any of this and all of that. Like, what words of encouragement, or like what tips do you have for someone that may be struggling right now? And
Don't wait. Don't wait.
okay.
You know that if you want to attract clients, it seems like you need to do something differently,
Okay.
right? Just, again, reflect on what you do. Even you can think about a small audit, right? So all your marketing materials, all your messages. Well, hi, Victoria.
Thank you.
And is it clear for them? What are your services? What are you offering? Right? Yeah, like, be clear with that stuff. And when you see that you can change something, that you can improve something, do it.
So let me just say, okay, I get what you're saying. I feel like, yes, you need to have your marketing plan, you have to audit yourself. But I think there's also a part, the mindset too.
Yes, you
Because I
can
was
have some
talking to,
doubts. Are
yeah,
you talking about getting
yeah, they doubt. So
some
I was talking
doubts?
to a person that they seem to be doing all of the things correctly. And I think you know this person too. They seem to be doing all the marketing things. They have a lot, but they do not believe that they can get the clients. That's what I felt in that conversation. It seemed like that. So like, what would you say? Because you can do all the do's, but if you don't have that belief that you can help, you can have this client, no matter what you do, it's not gonna come,
Yeah, and well, I believe that it's not about believing, right? It's
Okay.
about decision making, right? Because,
Oh,
well,
okay.
you are in the business, right? You started because of your why.
Mm-hmm.
You know your audience, you know your services. So how to attract? Well, just make a decision, right? Because sitting and thinking, overthinking, and doubting, it's a decision
So what do you mean by make a decision about what?
to attract clients.
Oh, wait. Okay. Let's break that down. So, like you're saying, just decide that you will attract clients.
Yeah, because, again, there is another trap.
Okay.
We all know that you need to be mindful in your decision making, right? So, in order to attract you know that you need clients to get your business thriving, right? To
Right.
get your business thrive. So, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
But did you decide to get clients?
Wow. Okay.
And it's about everything. Like, for example, we all know that in order to be healthy, we need to exercise more.
Yes.
We know.
Yes.
Did we decide?
Okay. Let me just make sure I understand what you mean
Okay.
by decide here. So, I'm doing all the marketing things that I'm supposed to do. I'm putting everything out there. So I need to tell myself that I will get clients. Is that what I'm hearing for the decisions? Or like what do you mean by the decision to get clients?
Well, it will be different for every person,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So if you're saying that lady, I suppose, she has everything. She has her marketing materials. She has everything. But how she is in doing that? So she's doing that probably automatically,
Okay.
right? So another part of that is, okay, how I would like to be in doing that.
Okay.
Because, again, It's about, you know, that saying, be the energy you want to attract.
Yes, yes.
How to be that energy.
Okay, wow. Okay, so you're saying that we should basically bring the energy that you want to attract into things that we are doing
Yeah.
for it to all come
And you know
together.
that in this situation with believing, probably she has some fears. Why doesn't she believe? What's in that? Does she believe in her service or product? Or what stopped her? What stops her? Is this about how she approaches the client? Is this about wording? Is this about, I don't know, what else? What else could be there? Like, so you see that it could be many layers in that. It could be, again, a decision making. It could be a self-confidence there. It could be what I just mentioned, that she somehow doubt her wording, her message
Yeah, or the fear. Yeah.
and product.
Wow. So we have to, wow, okay.
And again, it's about vision. And if you work with her, you can ask her, okay, how do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Who
Right.
are you? How are you feeling? What are the skills that you have?
Yeah.
And probably that will help her to understand or to get some ideas how to market differently, how to be more confident with that, and how to get more clients.
Right.
Because if she sees herself being successful business owner, she needs clients, right?
Right. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying now. I see what I mean. Like, and I ask all those questions when I do have with my clients too. Like, because you have to see yourself. I completely agree with that, as your future self. So that way we can know what to work
Yeah,
towards.
like you're watching movie from the end.
Yes, yes, yes. And that, hopefully, I think what I'm hearing you say is like, by seeing that vision and working actively and intentionally towards
Seeing and being there.
that being there.
Like being, because you need to feel that.
So that brings the energy, that removes the fear. Definitely that works for me, because when I see the end and I see the vision, like it's almost like nothing can stop me.
Yeah.
Like I'm that kind of person. But in my conversation with this particular person, it just seemed like, I guess maybe they are just not bought into the vision. They're just doing the activities, but they don't see the vision of where they're going.
So it seems like the service or the product is created just to be created.
That's good. And that's not how you build a business.
That's why she doesn't believe. So it's better to work with her vision to understand the end game. Okay, so if people refer clients to me, what are they saying? What are they talking about?
Right.
What is so unique about me? What is so powerful about me? Why me?
Right.
And then she will come up with another idea about another service or product that she will believe in.
Right.
Because when you don't believe, well, of course you can push yourself hard.
Right.
But you will not get results because you don't believe, and that means that you're not motivated.
Right.
Right? You have like no
No
power,
drive,
no interest even in driving that.
Right.
Even if your message is right, but if you are not interested in that. Yeah, but also sometimes it takes time to understand what are you looking for, what you would like to show to this world. Like, for example, I because of my human resources background, I did a lot of career coaching, but one day I realized I don't like it. I know that I was really good at that and people find jobs and they were better at that. I didn't like it. So I stopped doing that.
That's good. So anyway, this person is not my client. We were just having a conversation, but it just seemed like, from a marketing point of view, where I would have been able to help them. They seem to have everything down. They had all their strategy in place. They had everything. And it just seemed like they were struggling to get a client. And and that's all. And they were like, when, in that conversation, we would say something like, oh, did you try this? Have you tried that? It's like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, so
It could be another thing, another fear of getting success. Like, okay, she's got a client. What next? What's next? How to work, how to be with the client. She might be afraid of that, right? Because, well, now she is working on how to get clients and she is very well familiar with the all processes, all frameworks, right? But what to do with a real person? That could be an option too.
I think they need a referral to you. Wow, but let's get into that. The fear of success, because that is a thing,
Yes, and well, and I can simplify that because it's not clear what does it mean. So fear of success is actually fear about change.
Okay.
It is fear about change because, well, you were building your business, you put your efforts, your energy, your everything, and ta-da, you find yourself being really successful. What's next? Like, okay, that's why, so many women, they're hitting the wall when they are like getting to the successful level, then they experiencing the plateau
Yeah.
because they don't know what's next. Yeah, this is one part. Another part is, well, you just grown your business. It's like a baby, right? So you invested your time, your money, your skills, but you also need to grow. And you need to grow in terms of mindset.
Right.
So your mindset needs to be a bit bigger because your business is growing, right? So you are growing together.
Wow.
And sometimes we just neglect that thing, right? And we ignore that. So how to help yourself grow with your business, how you can do that in parallel so that you see big opportunities. Because, well, another thing is all that fears, right? So the bigger the business, the bigger the problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how to be comfortable with this uncomfortable level. Right? So how to be open to new opportunities, to new levels, to new heights.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's a lot of change, right? And that's why it's so scary. It's again about entering the unknown.
It's so good. That is so good. Girl, I feel like I feel like you've unlocked so much for me personally, because I can totally identify with the fear of that next level. I have so much in my mind where
It's
I'm
about
like,
vision too, right?
I'm sorry,
So
what?
it's about vision too, right? So you have your vision for this level of your success, okay? But in order to be motivated, you need to have like the ultimate vision. Okay, so in 20 years, my business, how big, who attracts, right? And all the things like, and because another thing, important thing, I'm sharing so important things, so many important things today. Your results, they are not motivators. Your results will never motivate you. What motivates you? Actions. That's why what we see usually, what I see in my clients, well, that's relevant to me too. When you reach your goal, you're just like, done. Okay, what's next? And your next is not identified and you're losing momentum.
That's good.
So your, I would say, annual goal should be part of something bigger.
Bigger. That's good. That's good.
Because you will know that, well, this is one step, like one, not step, like stage.
Yeah.
And then another one. It's like a video game, right?
Yeah.
You just pass one, then you're jumping on the next one.
Level, different levels.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's really good. Wow. Okay. So someone that is listening or watching this episode is like, okay, I'm dealing with all of this or some
And
part of
that's
this.
okay. And that's okay.
And how can we get a hold of some of your materials? Or because I know you have a course coming out or already, that's already out. And how can we even, like reach out to you to get more? Because I feel like this is a one-on-one conversation and it seemed like it's, going to be tailored to the individual.
Of course, yes. And, I would suggest that the good starting point will be to have a one-on-one consultation conversation with me first, right? Because usually, yes, we have so many things to understand first. And again, this is all about self-awareness. And when you know what are you capable of, you will see that actually you are a very talented person and you have that little of weaknesses that you can easily overcome using your talents, right? So that will be a good starting point. That will be the right place. And then we can talk about the programs. I have the program that exists, but that will be relaunched closer to the year end because it's purely about goal setting. And another course is coming. The name of the course is She Runs the Show.
She runs the show.
She runs the show.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still baking. It's still cooking.
Okay.
And I will definitely provide you with the link when it's ready.
Thank you.
It's purely about mindset. It's purely about how to get your vision crystal clear, how to start doing things and not procrastinate, and how to follow through, which is really important, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes we are losing momentum, we are losing motivation. And of course, you will learn a lot of things, how to stay resilient and how to get consistent results. Because it's all here.
It's all about the mindset.
It's all about mindset. It's all about how we think about things and our business and ourselves. Yes.
Wow, this is so good. Thank you so much for coming on.
And for those who would like to enhance their self-awareness, I have this Gallup Strengths Finder assessment, which is a great assessment that will allow you to discover your talents. And we have 34 talents. You will get understanding of your top 10, how to use them, how they show up in your life and your business. And so it's not just the assessment. I have now I'm offering the bundle, so assessment and 90 minutes conversation. And the price is very affordable. And can I name it? Can I say it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's $180.
Oh,
and
wow.
if you go to Gallup Strengths Finder website, you will see that they are offering it at $495.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
just 60 minutes. Yes.
Okay.
So it's very affordable, and that will really help you to understand why you do things in certain way, why you avoid things why you're avoiding doing things, how to communicate better. And it's not just about the business side, it's about all areas of your life. So when you get the report, we will sit together. I will teach you how to use your report, how to tap into the talents and strengths that you have so that you can use them every day and you can thrive in all areas of your life.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was actually a very good deal. If it's $490 something and you're offering it for 100,
yes, it's $180, and this is of course it's for a limiting time, but still it's
our
available.
audience, special deal for our audience.
Of course, yes. So I'm offering for friends and family.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been really eye-opening for me. Very, very good information. And I hope that you've learned something from it too. If you'd like to take advantage of this offer, please take advantage of it. All the links and, to reach Evgenia is all going to be in the comments. But until next time, be free and keep your mindset positive, because I think that I strongly believe that that's where a lot of our limitations are coming from. Take care.